Renowned Santoor player Pandit Shivkumar Sharma, who took the stringed instrument to the global stage and successfully straddled the worlds of classical and film music, died in Mumbai today following a heart attack. He was 84. He had been active till the end and was due to perform in Bhopal next week. He was also suffering from many other ailments. Prime Minister Narendra Modi was among those who condoled Sharma's death, saying, "Our cultural world is now poorer." Sarod player Ustad Amjad Ali Khan also said that Pandit Shivkumar Sharma's death was a personal loss for him. And we have Ustad Amjad Ali Khan, Padma Vibhushan. Ustad Amjad Ali Khan, thank you very much for joining us. This is an indeed sad day, and I believe more so for you, because in your tweet also you say it's a personal loss.
Yes, it's as if my family member has passed away, because we spend so much time together. We performed in so many festivals. We celebrated New Year's in his residence in Mumbai, and he has visited to our house. He was equally a great tabla player, because in Jammu he was he was a staff artist of All India Radio, and he himself told me that he accompanied so many great musicians. Because for a Santoor player, it is very, very important to know tabla and to understand tabla, lekari. If you are not a good tabla player, I mean, this is my suggestion to young Santoor players, that they must learn tabla. Because Shivji, because of his lekari, because of his rhythm, and I mean, Santoor, he brought Santoor to international level, because Santoor earlier was considered only a folk instrument. To bring out the classical, murki, khatka, taan, gamak, and Shivji gave a different dimension to this instrument. I'm sure his legacy will continue by his disciples and his own sons, exactly. Rahul Sharma, Rohit Sharma. And Sankeji, you want to question something?
Yes, Ustad Sahab, what I wanted to know is, this is very interesting that you mentioned that your advice to young Santoor players will be to learn tabla as well. I really wonder see, tabla requires for you to be nimble-fingered.
Yes.
What's the correlation between a Santoor and a tabla? And why did Pandit Sharma choose to do this?
No, because Shivji, as he was called affectionately, his father was also a great musician. So he encouraged him to be a tabla player. And in my young days also, I learned tabla. Because for every musician, tabla is very, very important. Lekari is very important. And Santoor, every instrument has limitations, but Santoor, could not produce that kind of slides and glides. Whatever, sitar or sarod can produce, or sarangi can produce. But he made, sometimes his Santoor was singing. He made it so beautiful. True. He made it so the whole world enjoyed his performance and his Santoor. So tabla is very important for every musician, whether he's a sarod player or sitar player. And Santoor, what Shivji, he gave a different dimension. Santoor, the word Santoor comes, Shivji's face is there.
Ustad Sahab, what is your memory, a distinct memory of Pandit Sharma? Like, I can share mine, because I'm very excited to tell you this. When you both appeared together along with many other stars, many other singers and musicians in the video Desh Rag, it was a treat for a young boy to see these two celebrated personalities. Him sitting in a shikara and playing, and you, I think, in New Delhi, perhaps.
Yes, around the monument. And a lot of young children were there. Aman was also very young at that time. They were all around me. So that was amazing, that Rag Desh. But Shivji, because he lived in Mumbai, he came from Kashmir, and he was part of most of the important songs, what Lataji sang, or Muhammad Rafi, or Hemant Kumar, all our great Mukeshji playback singers. And he gave music for so many films, especially Silsila, that Amitabh Ji was the hero of that film. So I think every classical musician has a composer inside, but sometimes we suppress that composer and we remain be a Sarod player or sitar player or Santoor player. But Shivji or Hariji, both Shiv Hari, combinedly they gave music. And so many films, his Santoor and flute, they were very important part. And gradually then we invited him to Gwalior in our Sarod Ghar, and we had honored him with Hafiz Ali Khan Award, and he performed also in Gwalior. So it's a great loss. And in this COVID period, this pandemic, we have really lost so many of our great musicians like Pandit Jasraj Ji, Pandit Birju Maharaj, and Pandit Rajan Mishra. So, I mean, we are we will always miss all these people, and especially because Shivji has a tremendous sense of humor also.
Really, would you like to tell us a little bit about this? Because, Ustad Sahab, as you're mentioning this, I'm so happy that while the country and the world is upset at this loss, at the same time, Ustad Sahab, you're also trying to bring out this aspect of him that generations should remember. Would you like to tell us about this sense of humor a little?
Because sense of humor is very important for every human being. And classical musicians, people feel we are always very serious and we are always mourning something. It's not like that. So in our free time, when few musicians get together, we are sharing jokes and we are... And Shivji could narrate the way he used to narrate... what happened to you?
I can hear you, Ustad Sahab.
What happened?
Yes, Ustad Sahab, I can hear you. Please, carry on.
I remember once he was telling a joke about two Punjabi people. They were discussing classical music. तो कहते हैं जलंधर में एक फेस्टिवल होता था, बल्लभ म्यूजिक फेस्टिवल. So the two people of Punjab, they are discussing great musicians like Pandit Omkarnath Thakur and Pandit Narayan Rao Patwardhan. कहते हैं गाना तो ओमकारनाथ गांधा सी, इतना चंगा गांधा सी, और इतना गाता था तो उसके मुंह लाल हो जाते थे. तो दूसरा कहता है नहीं गाना तो पटवर्धन जी ज्यादा अच्छा गाते थे, सुर को ऊपर ले जाते थे, टोपी उतार लेते थे, फिर तबले वाले के मुंह पर वो मार देते थे, कुछ ऐसा. So I mean the observation of in the audience के सम जब आता है, when we complete our phrase, तो सम के ऊपर आपने देखा होगा कि वोकलिस्ट लोग तबले वाले की तरफ हाथ ऐसे करके सम पे दिखाते हैं. So people have their own kind of observations, and so this is the two people from Punjab they were discussing. But Shivji narrated so many jokes, and we used to enjoy it. We used to look forward. I remember last time we met in Pune. The Pune organizers invited me and Shivji and Hariji to honor Dr. Prabha Atre, great singer from Maharashtra. So that was our last meeting. Since 2-3 years, we could not meet, we could not talk. So it was such a shocking news for all of us.
Ustad Sahab, was Pandit Sharma's life well lived? The reason why I ask you this question is because it is often an issue of great lament for many classical singers and musicians that the younger generation is not oriented towards classical forms of music. So was he able to convince, or will this legacy be strong enough for younger generation to remember?
You see, struggle, classical music always had struggle, and it will have struggle. There will be struggle always. So Shivji also, you know, from Jammu, how he came to Mumbai, and it's a long history, long journey. So hard work, sadhana, riyaz, this is most important. I mean, people should not think that it's, if we wear good, Shivji used to wear very beautiful kurtas. You must have noticed the silk kurtas, very colorful kurtas. He really celebrated life, because music is a celebration of life, and music cannot lie. It's so transparent. If I'm out of tune, you will come to know. But language creates barriers, and through language, you can cover up so many things. But sound, we say Swar hi Ishwar hai. So we cannot manipulate through sound. It's very transparent. So the young musicians, young learners of classical music, they must concentrate, and they must have blessings of Guru and parents, and sadhana, Swar sadhana. I still remember Tyagaraja, the Swami Tyagaraja of South India. Once it was my desire to visit his samadhi. And at that time, that was the condition that one has to play a composition of Tyagaraja. So I learned, you know, that Karnataka music, Rag Sri Ranjini. But the lyrics of that song was, he was a devotee of Lord Rama. Tyagaraja कह रहे हैं कि भगवान, क्या ये पॉसिबल है कि मैं अपने लाइफ टाइम में इन 7 सुरों का मतलब समझूं और इन 7 सुरों को समझ लूं, to understand the meaning of these 7 musical notes. So this is a great lesson for all of us, that we must do our sadhana. सिर्फ सुर में बजाना या गाना is not enough. Your music should be appealing. वो तासीर आए, कशिश आए, वो तासीर और कशिश साधना से और आशीर्वाद से ही आती है, सिर्फ रियाज से नहीं होता सब कुछ.
And do you think, Ustad Sahab, finally, this is a message that Pandit Sharma would have loved to send, a message he lived all his life, and a message he would want young musicians and his followers to follow from here on?
Yes, sadhana is very important. Sadhana is very important. So Shivji, Pandit Shivkumar Sharma ji will always be in our heart. उनका म्यूजिक हमें हमेशा याद रहेगा, उनकी शख्सियत, उनकी पर्सनालिटी, और will always, and we have great expectations from his children and disciples. The Santoor will continue forever in the world.
Ustad Amjad Ali Khan, thank you so much. And this is such a great loss for not just the music industry, not just for friends like you, but for anyone, in fact for the country and the world. Musician as well as celebrated Pandit Shivkumar Sharma no more. Thank you very much, Ustad Amjad Ali Khan.